Welcome to Habitly Courses, a production of Manage to Win. Each course is divided into multiple lessons for easy viewing. All are now completely free, so you can watch them on your own or work through them as a team. Please subscribe to this channel, leave a comment, and share your favorite lessons with others. Try to find something that helps you be your best.
This is lesson 2. We're going to build on lesson 1, which were the standards that you should follow. And now we're going to talk about communication. So communication basics. When I'm interacting with a client, can be on phone, chat, online meeting. Remember, this is remote. They receive my full attention. I do not interrupt them unless they're just going on and on and on and on and on forever. And then I choose a moment when they pause to try to politely, respectfully break up the conversation. I speak in a language they understand, and I might be friendly, I might interact with them a little bit, but hey, we're not going to talk about the kids and that type of thing for 15 minutes, okay? We want to do our work. Remember, they can get angry. I am always calm and respectful. Now, as far as etiquette, the first thing we have to do is ask questions and listen. And that's really what we've got to do. If you smile, it will affect your tone of voice. If you have a sincere smile, not one that you're gritting your teeth, okay? So we want a pleasant, respectful tone of voice. We want our body language. I mean, if we're kicked back, lean back, it's going to come through the phone. So we want to be clear on that. We're going to treat everyone with honor, dignity, and respect, no matter how they behave. And that can be a tall order sometimes, but if somebody pushes your buttons, just pause and breathe. If you need to take a break, take a break. Say, I'm sorry, something's come up. I need to get right back to you, or transfer it to somebody else, whatever. But we're always treating them with honor, dignity, and respect. We let the other person speak first. I mean, they're contacting us, right? There's a technical issue. They've got something to say. And we want to ask good questions, not just asking questions to fill space, but when they're appropriate, that's great. Now, recognize some cultural clues. That can be the gender of the person. That can be the speaking style of the person. That can be, are they bringing up issues with coworkers? Are they talking about something? You know, what are the cultural clues that can help you relate to this person? You're going to introduce yourself. You're going to confirm the work that's going to be done. If appropriate and honest, sincerely, briefly compliment them at times. That's great. But we're really demonstrating active listening skills. Now, we want to never assume our message is understood. We want to avoid assumptions, right? That's how they got in trouble in the first place. So we want to always confirm, and we're going to make what I call Goldilocks time estimates, okay? They're not too short, they're not too long, they're kind of just right, but we're going to pad that just right estimate so we can always meet it or beat it. And if we have to say some no's, we're going to say no to an unnecessary task, not to the person. And we want to pick up on what the other person's communication style is. Some people like a lot of detail. Some people just want bottom line summaries. Some people want to talk and get friendly. Some people just want to stick to business. Communication style is really important. There are 4 primary communication styles. Let's walk through them. We do tests on these all the time in our Manage to Win talent assessments. So there is the D, dominance. That's how you handle problems and challenges. So there's 2 ends of the spectrum. There's the high D, which is the one we talk about the most. Those are the kind of aggressive people. They have a high sense of urgency. And what they want to do is they want to take action. Don't give me a lot of detail. Give me the summary, get to the point, and let's move on. The low D is going to be the opposite of that. So they want time to think. They are more interested in the details and the data. And, you know, they can work in the background. They're going to be more patient, whereas the high D is going to be more impatient. Let's just get going. I got things to do. The I, we're talking about DISC behavioral style, D-I-S-C. The I is influencing. It's how you interact with other people. The high I is an extrovert. The low I is an introvert. Isn't that simple? I mean, you can remember that. So the high I wants to talk. So you're going to have to manage the conversation more. The low I wants to be alone. The talking wears them out. So you're going to have to focus on getting the information you need without wearing them out. Okay? The high I, a little social contact can be beneficial. Just don't let them get carried away with it. Try to keep them more focused. Okay? Let's move on to the S. The S is steadiness. That's how someone handles pace and work environment. So a high S is a people person, but they're skeptical. And the low S is an optimist. Okay? The high S wants to serve others. That's their primary thing. I need to get this fixed so I can serve other people. The low S, I need to get this fixed so I can do my work. Okay? They're more focused on themselves. The high S is very process-oriented. They don't like abrupt changes, and so they don't like risk. So they want assurance, and you need to come through. The low S is going to be a little more flexible, but they're going to have more of a sense of urgency. And then last but not least is the high C, compliance. That's how you respond to rules and procedures set by other people. But when you can identify what the behavioral style of someone is, which is also their communication style, and adjust to that, makes them much more comfortable. So the high C is the analytical. They want all the data, all the details before they make a decision. They don't like risk. They want proven process, and they're very task-oriented. The low C is going to do it their own way. They'll tell you something, and they won't do it. They're going to act very quickly. So they're very different in their style. Most of the time, you can get a good understanding by focusing on the high of each behavioral style. Okay? So the high D, that's the person who has a sense of urgency. They just want summary information. The high I, very friendly, but you have to manage the conversation so you don't waste a lot of time. The high S is also a people person, but they're going to be skeptical. They don't want to move too fast. They want to move slow. So step by step, you need to make certain they're comfortable. And then the high C, a lot of data, a lot of detail. They want to avoid making mistakes. Now, you're going to summarize verbally and then in writing confirm understandings. So when you need to discuss something, it's always best to do it verbally and then follow up with an email to confirm. Okay? And you're going to confirm what you're going to resolve. The primary problems we'll resolve are X, Y, Z. Here's what we're going to do, what the process is, and the time frame. Now, what about when you need to say no? Well, first of all, you're going to decline all immoral or illegal requests, like loading software that's pirated, that type of thing. You want to be respectful and polite. I'd love to, but can't do that. You have to decide whether and how you're going to explain why. So I say Goldilocks detail, not too much detail, not too little detail, kind of just right for the particular situation. You can suggest alternatives. That might not work, but, maybe we try this. And you want to complete your current work with excellence. So if they're asking you to do something that's outside of the scope of work, you need to address that, but you're going to say no to the task, not the client. Now, what happens when you have to deliver bad news? We're talking communication on remote support. So when it's your mistake, don't just come to them with the problem, have a solution and a time to resolution. And you want to deliver the news live in person or by phone first. Obviously, you're remote, so it's not going to be in person, but by in person here, I mean in phone. Avoid chat, avoid email. You really want to get verbal if you can. On the next slide, I'm going to talk about how to apologize. Keep it brief. You don't need to give them a novel that they have to read through. Okay, keep it brief, and then they can ask for more details if they want it. Follow up with an email, document, and PSA, which you should have already done. And you want to move to that solution as quickly as possible. Your apology should be sincere. It's basically you're going to be prepared with the facts, the minimum facts. You don't have to give them all the details. And if they ask for more, then you share what is appropriate. Being honest, being empathetic. And we talk about this in another course. We do a whole course on empathy. Empathy is different than sympathy. Sympathy, you get into the sinking boat with the person. Empathy is You say, wow, I know what that's like. Let's talk about how we can resolve the situation and plug the holes in your boat. Apologetic, you take responsibility for what you did wrong. Now, if you're 50% wrong and the technology that you're working with is 50% wrong, take responsibility for the 50% you did wrong. Okay? You don't have to, you can say, I'm sorry that this other situation has inconvenienced you, but you're not taking responsibility for that. Try not to point out client errors. They're not going to want to hear it unless they need to learn from it. The main focus of an apology is that you're focusing on, this is what I did, I'm taking responsibility, I'm sorry. Separately, you may need to point out a different process they need to follow to avoid errors. And then once again, we're not getting stuck with the problem. Move to the solution. That's where everybody wants to be. Now, what about when they make a mistake and you've got to communicate that? Everybody loves you when you're honest, except when you're honest about their mistakes. Then you're a jerk or a bigot or a problem. You're a problem, okay? Unless you handle it well. And so what we want to do, we want to handle it well. They made a mistake. Once again, get the solution in the time to resolution. That's what they need. Talk to them. Don't hide behind an email or a chat. Be factual. Don't blame. Be humble. Be clear and brief. And then follow up with email and document in a PSA, your PSA, and move to the solution as quickly as possible. Confirm the time frame in writing and be on time. So now, you can review this a little bit more if you want. You've got the deck. You can review it, but discuss it. Hopefully, you've got some real-life scenarios that you can discuss when you feel you got a grasp on it. And answer these questions, by the way. What are you going to do differently based on this lesson? Then take the exam and pass that. Hopefully, you passed the first lesson. Now you can pass this one, and then you can move on to lesson 3.